Alright, little update here on the Derp ATV project. Really not much to show for, but it's all these little small things that take time, as usual. But in between fixing the rims, which I got them all fixed, and as you can tell here, I kind of ended up doing each rim a little bit differently just to play around with it. It's a little bit experimenting. Because at the end of the day, these are prototype rims now, so I mean, they've been cut up and rewelded. Might as well try out different stuff. But everything's sealed up fine. I did have a little bit of a pinhole leak on one of the crappy welds that I put together. I think I had to run flux core because I ran out of shielding gas, so I just had to get her done. I just slapped some JB weld on it, and it's just to hold the air out. It's not going to be structural or anything. But I will recommend using polyurethane sealant for your bead sealing surfaces. That ended up being a lot better than the silicone. I just did a single bead, clamped everything down, no issues at all on any of the sealing surfaces on those tires. So on all 4 tires, no leaks. Worked out great. A little bit more expensive, but it's definitely worth it for your time. Tailgate, I ended up going with the marine board. You can kind of see it right there. I kind of like it. It's got a nice texture to it. And plus, it's like $50 for a sheet. I think it was 4.5 by 8. So it's about the same price as like a melamine 3/4 inch plywood type of deal, MDF stuff. But I kind of want to avoid wood just because of the marine environment and just making this stuff last. Tailgate, that's all good to go. One thing to note too, you can't tell from here, but because of the thermal expansion of the plastic, when it gets a little hot, it likes to bow in quite a bit. In the future, what I'll probably end up doing is oversize drilling these holes and then putting rubber washers on it, so that way you can allow the plastic to float back and forth instead of being constrained. So that's why this thing is dipping, is because it has nowhere to go when the heat gets to it. But it's just those little small things you got to take into account for. Really, the last thing I got to do on this tailgate is add the a piece of aluminum that'll go on the top side to hold the bulb seal, where the rear window kind of folds down onto it. But continuing on the aluminum work, I guess, for the most part, the major aluminum components have been skinned. The rear side, the lower right side, and of course the center fender partitions here. Those 2 panels have been added as well. So good news there. I will say, I think I'm in a pretty good spot to hopefully get this thing fully weatherproof by the end of the month. That'll be awesome when October rolls around. But as you can tell here, I got my all my trim work pretty much riveted and sealed. This will hold the bulb seal so that when the rear window and the tailgate fold up, it makes a nice, weatherproof, not waterproof, but water resistant, I should say, sealing surface. So you can kind of see there, it's all these little small things that just take time. One thing to note, when I originally designed this, I probably have to end up bending these in a little bit just to get some clearance for my, the gas strut right here that goes up to the tailgate. We'll see how that turns out once I mount it up, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. That's why man invented hammers. Moving on to the front, same deal, trim work for the bulb seal on the side windows. That's done and sealed up. And then same goes for the front windscreen and the lower access way. So yeah, once again, just a lot of drilling, riveting, and sealing. And I ended up changing the seal here because we did have quite a bit of rainstorm a couple weeks ago, so I was able to do a lot of, it was a good test, check for leaks. There was a couple of leaks on the back where some of the rivets popped through, and there was a couple of, leaks going on right here too. But one of the big leaks was actually coming from that trim seal. It was like that little 20 cents per foot bulb seal, so I ended up getting some more expensive stuff, the stuff that they use on like car trunks and whatnot. So this stuff is a little bit better in terms of sealing ability, in my opinion. It's got like 3 or 4 sealing surfaces. And then I also got this stuff too that I'm gonna wrap around. So this will kind of keep any of that water spray from coming up through. But I think this stuff will end up being a lot better than the old stuff, that's for sure. I hope so, with how much more it costs. On the topic of bulb seal, I am learning quite a bit about this stuff. But my original bulb seal for the side windows and the door was going to be kind of this stuff right here. Let's see if this focuses. There we go. This is just a simple bulb seal. I think this was like 50 cents per foot. And of course you go up to your $2 per foot. But this stuff has like a lot more sealing surfaces. You got this little guy down here, this guy right here. And then of course you got this funky bulb here, which as you compress it, you know, it kind of rolls that little pinch point right here, so it gives you a secondary axis or a secondary seal. This is the stuff that, you know, they use on car doors and whatnot, so I think I'm going to end up going with this stuff. But yeah, you can kind of see this kind of just gets pinched right up on here. Kind of good comparison of what we got going on. So this is like the cheap stuff. It's just a simple bulb, and then of course you got the more expensive stuff. So I'll probably go with the more expensive stuff. I mean, I already bought it. But yeah, just the little small deals. Same thing goes with these things. I'm probably have to wing them back this way just so that the gas shocks can clear the trim. But yeah, I gotta get this step going too, because this thing is a doozy of a step. Kind of see the trim work got going on. I think it should work out all right. So it's just the little small things. I did get the Lexan in. It's actually back over here. Rivets will be coming in this week. Yeah, really what I'm going to end up doing this week is pretty much getting all the window frames all pretty much ready to go from a weld and paint standpoint, so that way all I got to do is rivet the Lexan onto the frames and seal them up. After that, it's just a case of mounting everything together and putting the bulb seal on and moving on to the next job, which will probably end up being getting the lower drivetrain components rocking and rolling. So it's slowly coming together. It's looking kind of sherpish, at least.